Hello and welcome to this discussion about digitalization capabilities in commercial refrigeration and the whole business of taking your refrigeration and plugging it into the Internet of Things. We have a couple of really great experts here to discuss this with us. Today we have Alberto Privato, who is General Manager of Danfoss's business unit dealing with the Internet of Things. And we also have Ian Jones, who's our Global Sales Director dealing with commercial refrigeration and convenience store business. So looking at it both from the technical point of view and the business point of view. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us. If you want to chat to either of these guys after the discussion, you're very welcome to. They'll be in a chat room, and we'll share a link a little later on where you can join us and ask your questions in there. And I also have to tell you that later in this session, we have a video for you, a premiere of a brand new video showing the potential of digitalization in refrigeration. So that's going to be quite exciting. Also, a little bit later on in Cooling United Live, we're going to be launching Alsense for food retail, and we will actually give you a bit of a sneak preview of what we'll be talking about there as well. So, lots to look forward to in this short session. But the first thing I kind of want to ask is that plugging commercial refrigeration systems into the internet sounds like science fiction to me. Is this something that is really real and it's really kind of happening right now, or is this just a thing that's a maybe?
Yeah, I suppose that this is the perception that most of the people I met have in their mind. But no, it's a real things, tangible things. And indeed, we have already a lot of installations. We have up to 300,000 equipment connected with this system, these Internet of Things devices that are connected to equipment. They send information on the network. The network is not always internet. It is internet plus other stacks of network collected in databases that you can access through different type of functions, through web portals, smart app. That is a reality, not science fiction.
And 300,000 items connected, you were saying, is that just in commercial refrigeration, or are there more still within Danfoss overall?
Yes, both commercial refrigeration and the food retail. We have for food retail with up to 1,500 supermarkets where there are a lot of equipment connected. Largely more than 300,000 equipment that generated information.
And if you take into consideration, David, the complete network, because where Alberto mentioned retail stores, you have a number of connected cabinets within retail stores. So if you look overall holistically within Danfoss, we're collecting over 1 million data points each week. So that's collectively as Danfoss on the food retail on the Alsense platform. So, that's managing about 1.6 million alarms, managing those and processing them monthly. So that's a staggering amount.
Wow! So we're getting all of this, tons and tons of data from all these refrigeration systems. What kinds of things can you do with them? Why is it important that you have that, Ian?
Well, IoT creates the opportunity to connect machines and devices together, and that enables the collection of big data, which can in turn be analyzed. That creates, then when you analyze that data, you're creating tangible assets or tangible outcomes, such as increasing sales for point of sale equipment. That affects operators who can use that information also for preventative actions to improve equipment performance. That impacts OEMs. It can impact delivering of services through installers and also for end users. And I think, if we take into account the events that are happening now, especially with COVID and the COVID pandemic, it's really taught us a lesson. and that lesson being the importance of staying connected while working remotely. This in itself is driving a need for IoT and IoT-enabled equipment, and really for smart service solutions, which really allow us to work remotely, but still feel as though we're in virtual contact with the equipment and our customers.
And when you talk about the equipment, I mean, what kinds of applications is this getting used for now?
Just as an example, if we look at this from a service partner viewpoint, who's managing a range of refrigeration equipment, maybe in a quick serve restaurant or in a small convenience store or independent store, then this can actually create a number of issues, because if you think how they're working today, they're working in maybe managing and monitoring alarms. So if they receive an alarm or alarm is raised, and generally this service partner has to go to store. So now they're actually able to receive these alarms and alerts remotely and actually manage that remotely. So it means they don't have to get in the car, they don't have to go to store, they don't have to then take that time and go and reset the set point on the controller. They can do everything remotely. So you're not only saving time, improving operational efficiency for the end customer, whether that be a retailer or convenience store, as we mentioned, there's actually the reduction of food loss, because addressing these alarms, which are generally high temperature or the door could be left open, enables the end customer to actually protect the food that's within the cabinets.
Great. And are there any other benefits and potential uses for all of this data outside of alarms and ensuring food safety, important as that is?
Yeah, that's as Ian said, the applications are the one that you can create, and I hope often I say that the only limit for this technology is the imagination, really, because you have a huge amount of data that can be combined in a infinite way to create all the functions you can expect, and more have to come, because I'm sure that after a very large deployment of this technology, more function will be created. Anyway, the applications can be for end users, like companies that are promoting their products on the field, like I don't know, an ice cream makers or a soft drink distributor, but also for manufacturer of the equipment, because this technology allows a manufacturer of an equipment to know exactly how the equipment really works on the field, not in laboratory. So what you can track every day, minute by minute, is the real behavior of the equipment on the field that before this technology was impossible to achieve.
Do you mean from a technical point of view or from a sales point of view?
Both.
Okay.
Yes, because from technical point of view, you know exactly the real conditions in which the equipment is working. For example, you can design an equipment to be filled with, let me say, 100 soft drink bottles. But in the field, the owner of the point of sale tried to fill the equipment with 150 bottles. Do you expect to have the same code for each bottles? Who can know? You can know now with this technology. But at the same time, for the end user that is promoting the bottles, the brand, they have a brand, and they have a brand on the label of the bottle inside the cabinet. For that end user to know how many times you open the door of the cabinet, or how many liters of soft drink is dispensed by dispenser. This is a very important tactical and strategic information, because you know exactly each point of sale, each day of the week, each hour of the day, the consumptions. These data are not achievable with any other technique.
Wow. And so, I mean, Ian, what would you say kind of the benefits are for the end users of the equipment?
For the end user, I guess it depends where how you're classifying the end user. You have an end user, for example, which owns the equipment, the point of sale equipment, and deploys that to sell or to sell their produce. For them, they're able to actually see where that equipment is. So there is a lot of equipment which actually goes missing. And that, of course, has a financial impact for the end user that owns the equipment. So you can track the equipment no matter where it is in the world, and if it's moved, you're receiving alarms and alerts to tell you that it's moved, but where it's moved to. So that's one. So you're able to manage the asset loss. You're also then able to manage the maintenance side and the service side of the equipment when it's in the field. Don't forget, this equipment can last up to 7 to 10 years when it's placed in the field. So the operational costs that you have here have to be managed. And by actually receiving the data and knowing how it's performing during its life cycle enables you to manage the actual service time and the service intervals with the equipment. But then you also have OEM manufacturers that are also now deploying IoT connectivity to their equipment to make it IoT enabled, because end customers also want to capture data such as temperature when we're talking about perishable foods within their own systems and entire systems. So we're offering multiple different values to different stakeholders throughout the entire chain.
Great. I see. So, I mean, benefits kind of right along the value chain there. Alberto, I'd like to ask you. We've talked about. I mentioned Alsense quite a lot, and there's a big launch coming up within Cooling United Live for that. How much can you tell us about that and what that is?
Yes, Alsense is an entire stack of different things. Imagine that when you have an equipment, you need to install into the equipment a device that is able to grasp the information and to send the information. We defined these devices as IoT enabler. The IoT enabler are part of Alsense, are the technical part of the, or better, the hardware part of the Alsense. Then when you send the information from the IoT enabler to the cloud, the connectivity, so the how to transmit the information, how to create the right messages, minimizing the data loading, that is part of the Alsense. The server that accepts the information is Alsense. All the functions available for both the portals and the smart app is Alsense. Alsense is a universe that is an IoT universe where you have an end-to-end system, end-to-end solution. End-to-end, the two ends are, on one side, you have the equipment in the locations, in the point of sales, in the sites. In the other end, you have the services, the functions that you provide to the users. Different type of users, different type of stakeholders. All that you have in the middle is Alsense.
So kind of everything that you need to get this data and to use it. It sounds great, but I've got to say it does sound expensive. Is that true?
When you asked me if this is a reality or science fiction, I just mentioned the fact that it is a reality, and I've forgotten to say that not only is a reality, but it is really less expensive than you imagine. Really less expensive than you imagine.
Wow, so kind of accessible for people to use as well.
Yeah.
Ian, this all sounds great, and it sounds like the future. Why should people talk to Danfoss about this, though? Why is Danfoss best place to do this?
Well, I mean, we now, with Alsense, which Alberto was mentioning, we now have a complete IoT suite here, covering everything from food retail to food service to food and beverage. So within this scope, we have a portal that is able to manage third-party integration. We're able here to collect information not only from our own controls, but from our other controls that are in the market. We're able here to provide a range of services that enable our customers here to get the return of investment that's required, which allows them then to obviously justify the rollout of IoT within their equipment or within their company. So we're actually offering quite a number of different advantages or should I say, options here for our customers really to learn from our domain knowledge that we have. We've been in this industry, or within the Prosa environment, within Alsense, within our platform environment, we've been here for 20 years. So we've got a vast experience and knowledge around IoT. But when you look at the refrigeration domain knowledge, we've been in the business 87 years. So we're bringing a wealth of information and knowledge and understanding on the application in the environment to our customers and sharing that with our customers.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. Thank you for that. Sorry, Alberto, you had something to add?
Just concerning the return of investment, let me give you an example. Imagine that you have a freezer, an ice cream freezer full of ice creams.
My favorite.
You can imagine the cost of the entire content. You are more than 1,000 euro probably if you have a standard cabinet. Imagine that the temperature stops working, the cooler stops working, and you are melting all the ice creams. That is a very big loss, a big loss. Just saving the contents of one cabinet in this alarm situation, you cover the investment in the system for, I cannot say you how many years, but decades, really.
Wow.
So just to have an idea.
Wow, that's amazing, and anything that protects ice cream is good by me. Chaps, I'm sure that the audience would love to ask you some questions about this, but and we'll give them the opportunity to do so in the chat room if you'll join us. Before that, though, we do have this exciting premiere of a new video that shows exactly what digitalization, it's easy for me to say, and the Internet of Things can do in commercial refrigeration from an end user's point of view.
Anytime, anywhere, people are consuming food and beverages. Danfoss has designed Alsense, a powerful infrastructure that can monitor any kind of market equipment in real time. Alsense lets you check and capture equipment data with an e-control and an IoT enabler, making it simple to get and set all the parameters wherever you are. You can configure brands, analyze sales trends, and track your equipment's position remotely. With the Prosa Link app, you can also easily check food safety compliance and constantly monitor stock level. What about sales? How can Alsense increase the sales of goods? It analyzes customer preferences by measuring precisely detected brand sales, which allows you to choose and configure the perfect valve mix. Alsense notifies you when you are running out of stock, so that you never run short and are always in sync with real-time sales. Alsense allows you to measure the market effects of unexpected events like COVID and lets you balance sales and marketing accordingly through a customized dashboard. It's also possible to remotely monitor the quality of the products dispensed in the field at any time, since quality and sales are strictly correlated. Monitoring the food cold chain is extremely important in assuring high-quality produce and preventing waste. Tap your smartphone anytime to automatically generate a cold room ASAP compliance report. When your equipment isn't working properly, you immediately receive an alert and can exploit the expert system to solve the issue without visiting the point of sales, saving time and reducing maintenance costs. When it comes to efficiency, logistics such as movements, warehouse stocking, lost equipment, Alsense gets and tracks the distribution of your assets under any condition. You need to know where your equipment is. Is it stocked in warehouse with zero productivity or in the field making sales? The goal is to maximize the equipment in the field, and optimize the efficiency of the logistic processes. How? The logistic dashboard gives you a real-time overview of all your assets, making it possible to minimize movements and improve equipment lifetime. Alsense can live in perfect symbiosis with your existing enterprise software by configuring data integration flows between the two systems. To reduce the equipment loss ratio, the system also provides a complete asset tracking tool that immediately informs you when an asset is moved without authorization, indicating the asset's new estimated position. This is possible with an easy place-and-play device, the Solo IoT enabler with long-life batteries, GPS and Wi-Fi scanning technologies. Danfoss Alsense assures an all-in-one system with everything at your fingertips. Easy, affordable, robust, scalable and highly flexible. Anytime, anywhere.
Wow, that's pretty impressive stuff. Guys, I can imagine that the audience will want to ask you plenty of questions about that and the Internet of Things and digitalization, and they'll all have plenty of questions. So what we'll do now, I think, is to call this part of the discussion to a halt, move through to the breakout rooms. There should be a link available for you now, and if you'd like to join us in there, then everyone will be able to ask you their questions. Until then, I will say thank you, Alberto. Thank you, Ian, for joining us. And thank you for watching. We'll see you in the breakout room in a moment.